Alrighty. So let's talk about the books that I read in October. It was 17 books total. I went pretty hard, surprisingly. I mean, I kind of knew I would because I'm working again, and that means I'm listening to audiobooks while I'm designing things. So, anyways, let's go with the first book I finished, which was This Wicked Fate. And so, this one concluded the duology with This Poison Heart, I think was the first one. But this one, it was like, it pretty much picked up exactly where the other one left off, and then it went into like pure adventure, basically. So it's a very adventure book, and I just, you know, I feel like some of the like mystery parts that I was into in the first one was not present in this anymore because we already know what's going on and now we just have to do it basically. So this was the book where they were doing instead of figuring out, and it kind of lost a little bit of appeal to me for that, but it's still like a fun read. So I gave it 3 stars. After that, I finally finished listening to the audiobook of The Diviners. That one ended up being like different than I expected. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but people made it sound like it was gonna be maybe a little bit more creepy than it was. So I feel like to me, it really wasn't that bad, but to some people, they're gonna be really freaked out because this does deal with like the occult, demonic stuff. It's generally actually kind of unpleasant, and then there's a bunch of people in this world that are like suddenly like coming up with powers and everything. So like, it really follows like two perspectives. So you have one girl that she can touch stuff and kind of like see memories and stuff attached to it, and the person that had it, so she can kind of see into the past like that. And then we have another one that like he could heal until he couldn't anymore. And basically, people like that are starting to pop up, and there's also somebody that's basically trying to bring about like the end of the world. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on in that book, and it's only the first of a quartet, I believe. So we got a lot more to go, and I am intrigued, and I will keep going. But yeah, our main character, the girl character, she's kind of getting on my nerves. She's an entitled rich girl, and so she does dumb stuff that privilege entitles you to do a little bit more than like somebody who's on the struggle bus. So she kind of got on my nerves sometimes. Not the most likable MC, but also, you know, she doing predictable things, I think, for her life. Anyway, so that one was interesting. I gave it 3.75. After that, I read Unicorn Shifter Academy. So I had gotten this in a Stuff Your Kindle Day event, and this was just pure like kind of ridiculous but fun at the same time. Like our main girl, basically she's like, no, I'm just a regular human. Like the regular humans are not present as much in this world. Like they're kind of a minority. Everybody has like magic. There's like an awakening and everybody has magic now. So everybody's like magical creatures and shifters and all this. And so her mom is like really trying to force the issue, trying to be like, no, you have to have magic. There has to be magic. Like her mom wants her to be a mini her. She's one of those moms. And so our girl finds out pretty much at the beginning of the book that she is a unicorn shifter, and that is how we end up in this because she is the only female unicorn shifter. They have been told, first off, people were told that there really weren't even that many unicorns, and then they were told that there's only guy unicorns, and then she came along, and so it's this whole thing of like now she has to find out all about all that stuff, and apparently she has some kind of fate that we're still waiting to find out about because the animals in that world are even talking to her and being like, girl, we need you to come and do whatever. So she's got, I mean, I need the rest of the series. Like, is it the best thing I've ever read? No, but like, it is very interesting and I would continue with it because it is ridiculous. These shifters like to run around naked. I need them to put their clothes on. All right. And then, she also, it's definitely a reverse harem situation. It's been set up. But also, unicorns are supposed to be pure. Like, their magic comes from purity and like being virgins and stuff. And so it's kind of, it's gonna be very interesting to see where this goes. So I'm intrigued, it was very short, and I feel like it cut off kind of like in the middle of the book. Like we really kind of need. I felt like half a book. I mean, it is half the length of a regular book, really. So, not surprising. But yeah, the cutoff was kind of bullshit, and I just really need the next book already. But it is not out on KU, anyways. So, anyways, that one I gave 3 stars. Okay, after that, I listened to the audiobook of Just Like Mother, and I hated this book. I hated this book. Like, I would have DNF'd it if it wasn't for like a specific thing that I was doing it for, where you couldn't DNF. So I powered through it. It was I thought very predictable, very predictable. Like from the very fucking beginning, I was like that one's the big bad. Stay away from her, please. So basically, our main character. This story is weird because it happens after a cult. Like our girl gets out of a cult, but then she reconnects with somebody that was in the cult, and then her life goes sideways. And it was just pretty fucking obvious, if you're asking me, that this girl was on some bullshit. And so yeah, you go through this ride with her where, every red flag has been flagged and she should have run away a long time ago, but girl's not paying attention. And so, yeah. Yeah, so this is a cult that, like, basically forces women to give birth. Women are groomed to become mothers. Like, literally, they call them mother. Mother! Mother! Like, they don't even have names. Your identity is stripped. You're just a mother. Everybody's a mother. And it's all just, like, trying to force women to have babies. And it's cringe. It's disgusting. Like, the lengths they go to force people to do this. And, yeah, I mean, it's a cult, just like they said. And then, yeah, you kind of find out this girl's cousin, if she even, it really is her cousin. She found her because she was like, that's my only friend from childhood. And she was real hung up on that. And, yeah, it goes from there. It's not a good time. So anyways, yeah, I just really thought it was really predictable. And so, I give it 2.5. Not pleasant. Let's see. After that, I listened to the audiobook of Kindred, which this one is, I believe it's considered a modern classic. This one, involves a woman, a black woman who is in the 70s. I think this book was written in the 70s, and so it was like modern day for then when it came out. So, a modern black woman who lives in, I think, California even, she ends up, and she's married to a white dude. That's important. She's married to a white dude, and then, in the present day, but she ends up getting sucked into the past repeatedly, to one of her ancestors. And this kid, like, it turns out there's like white dude in her family lineage, and this dude is a mess. She gets sent to the antebellum South, and so her turns out her one white ancestor they got in the bloodline is a plantation owner. His parents are, and she keeps getting scooped back in to basically save his life and stuff. But he still turns into a dirtbag because that's the time frame, and it's just kind of really sad to like watch all of this happen, and then to even hear her partner make it sound like it wasn't that bad. Her white partner tries to act like it wasn't that bad, and is still doing like ugly stuff, kind of to a degree. Like it just kind of shows you where things are versus where things were. And you just kind of see that there are still some parallels that have not quite fully flown the coop. So, that is unfortunate. But, yes, this book had me thinking about it a lot. Yeah. I gave it 4 stars. It definitely was worth the read. If you really want to, know about how shit is in America, you should read that book. It'll explain a lot, really. Honestly, even though it's fiction and it's like kind of like sci-fi-y with the time travel stuff, it still tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about the state of America. Anyways, so after that, we went with a way less serious read because it is in a fictional world with fictional problems that are also, totally different because they have magic. So anyways, I read Heavenly Bodies. I was into this. I was surprisingly very into this. So, this world is basically built around, like, the Zodiac, but they changed the names around a little bit. So, our main character is basically, like, the princess of, like, the Pisces land, and she gets, kidnapped into, like, the Leo land, basically, kingdom. And so, she gets, there's a prophecy involving her, and they basically kind of want to make it happen, except they want to like try to change the outcome, kind of. And it turns out to be a whole ass mess. And of course, because it's a fantasy romance, she finds a romance while she's there in the other land. So, yeah, she basically was like a prisoner, was being forced to be a weapon, but then things go interestingly because the gods in this world, they're stars, and like they're real and you can call upon them and stuff, and but they're also kind of all douchebags. It's an interesting story, and I am so intrigued to continue this. And the second book is coming out soon, so well, I got my hands on the matching edition of this that's coming, and so I'm very excited for that. So we'll see where it goes from there. But this one I gave 4.5. There was just like a few things where I was like slightly annoyed, but for the most part, I really like the book, and I just really like the setup. So that was interesting. And then after that, I listened to the audiobook of Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist. This is a sapphic romance with this girl summons her ex's ghost, basically, and then it turns into this thing of like she's like, I think I'm here in order to help you find love again, and so and so she like tries to help her do that, and then but then there's also like it kind of turns into a murder mystery because they're like, oh, maybe this isn't what her unfinished business is, or like why can't they, like she's like she summoned her sphere and her sphere won't go back, and she's like, well, what the hell's wrong, what the hell's going on, right? Like she just wanted closure, she just wanted to like apologize or whatever, and then yeah, for like breaking up or whatever, and just it turns into this whole thing. So I gave it 3 stars. I didn't think it was like the best thing ever, but it was kind of, you know, kind of interesting. Then after that, I listened to the audiobook of The Last House on Needless Streets. And this book took me for a whole ride. The whole time I'm like, this can't be for real. Like, what is going on? So basically, our main character's a dude, but then the cat also gets a POV, and there's like a bunch of different POVs. And you're seeing things from all this crazy stuff. So it seems like he has a kid in his house that he kidnapped, and then there's also like a cat, but I don't know. And then he's going to a therapist to get meds, but like he's not telling the therapist the truth, so the therapist doesn't even know what's going on. And just like, I don't know, this guy is just like, he's a real sketch and weird, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like it's an unreliable narrator situation, and yeah, by the end you kind of know what's going on, but also you kind of still don't. Like I feel like at the end I still was just like, but is this even real either? Like everything, you just, the whole time I'm questioning everything, and by the end I was still questioning shit. Like we got an answer, but the answer is such that it makes you still question some stuff. So this book was a ride. This book was such a ride, and the whole time I was like, I don't think, I was yelling at my friend, I don't know about this, and I don't know about this part either. But I gave it 4.5. So yeah, it was a very interesting read, let me tell you. Worth the read. So after that, I listened to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which yeah, I see why people say like this is like a sad as hell book and like kind of intense. So this is very much in V.E. Schwab style, you know, that it is very, I see why people compare it to her new vampire book that I also read, Bury Our Bones Beneath the Midnight Soil, I think. Such a long title. But it is kind of similar to that in like it explores like a theme of immortality. So our girl makes a deal with like a demon or death or whatever the hell. It was something supernatural she knows she's not supposed to be fucking with. But she didn't want to get married, and so she makes a deal to basically become immortal and to be owned by no one, you know, because back then, you know, women were just property. So she didn't want that to happen to her, and he took it very literally, and now she, like, nobody can remember her even after she leaves out of the room. Like, as soon as she's out of sight, they don't remember her, and this causes her a lot of problems, and she's basically like homeless the whole time. And then basically it's basically her story of like trying to navigate that. And how it goes, because yeah, there were some interesting bits in there. That's all I'm gonna say. But I gave it 4 stars. Like, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. If you're a crier, you're probably gonna be crying at that. But that's how that went. So after that, I read a funny book. Yeah, I think this would technically count as like a cozy fantasy. So, which is not really like my favorite genre unless it's like funny as hell like this one is. Like, this one honestly is kind of like it was comedic enough that I was still entertained. So this is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher, which, you know, a lot of people like their books. But this is so funny to me. Like, our main girl, she has magic that basically she can make dough come to life, and so she makes like a gingerbread familiar, and like she can make the gingerbread men make like a whole army of gingerbread men, and she can make dough come alive, and it just becomes this whole thing. She's like, I'm just a kid, why do I have to fix everything for these adults? I'm like, girl, I feel that. I feel that. For real though. She's asking the real questions. So yeah. This kid is having to basically save a kingdom with her magic. So, you know, I mean, I guess it's kind of really not cozy in that sense. Like, it's cozy in that she's a baker, but the stakes are kind of high, actually. So it's kind of less cozy than I guess some cozy books are. But this was a fun read. Like, if you haven't read this, I would definitely give it a go if you just want something, you know, easy to get through. This was worth it. So, yeah. I thought that was cute. 4 stars. And, like, I feel like this is something that I would maybe reread again, like, around the holidays, because it's just, like, a cute, fun little book, really, at the end of it. Well, I mean, there's some messed up parts, though, I'm not gonna lie. You know, don't think that it's too cozy. Because shit does happen. Stuff does happen in that book. But that was that. So, after that, I listened to the audiobook of Blood on Her Tongue, and this was another instance where I really kind of wanted to DNF, but I did not, because I needed to finish it for reasons. But, so, Blood on Her Tongue, this one is a body gets found in the bog, and it causes problems, because whatever possessed that lady ends up possessing a new person, and then it turns into this whole thing. And she just wants to eat people. She wants to eat people. So that's obviously a problem. And then her twin sister is like, I don't know. Their family dynamics were super cringe. She has a twin, and so the like bog monster thing that's like possessing her sister is like trying to utilize the fact that she's in her sister's body to like manipulate her and stuff. And their family dynamics just suck. Honestly, she's like, "Well, I slept with your husband," and I'm like, "Girl, you were. What the fuck is wrong with you?" I'm just like. And the dude sucks. Like, y'all in a weird thing about a shitty dude in the first place. Like, oh, their family dynamics just sucks. It just sucks. So, I was just like, girl, please. So anyways, I kind of didn't like it. The horror part is really just like, there's the gore, obviously, because it's trying to eat people's bodies. Trying to eat people. So, I give it 2.5. I just didn't like it that much. So sad. After that, I listened to the audiobook of the Deathly Grim. So I finished that duology finally. And, yeah, that one also kind of just, like, picked up right where the last one left off. And, you know, we're going on some more adventures in the forest, trying to wrap up these things, trying to break curses, trying to do all of that. So, it's basically, like, Little Red Riding Hood mixed with, like, all the other fairy tales in the Grim Forest. And yeah, you just kind of have to blend them all in your head, and then that's basically what this series is. What this duology is. It's just blended up fairy tales together. But I thought it was like an interesting take of blending all the retellings kind of together. You don't want to be like a princess. Any of the princess from the stories. You don't want to be one of those in this book. So anyways, I gave that 3.75. After that, I read An Academy for Liars, and this one catfished me. Okay. If I had known I was going to end up rating this book this low, I would not have finished it. But it's because of the ending. Like, I was on board to give this book 3 stars, and then by the end of it, I was not. anymore by the ending. I thought the ending was bad. I thought this book was bad by the end of it. So this one, our girl, she talks to a mirror version of herself that's telling her to go do this and go do that, and she's super depressed anyways, and she got her boyfriend cheating, so she's like, whatever, my life is shit anyways, and then she goes and runs off to this school where she learns how to do persuasion magic. Basically, she can force people to do shit. That's what they learn at this school. And basically, I thought this was like a weak version of Vita Nostra. This was like a less crazy version of Vita Nostra. And it was kind of okay until we got like the main character's obviously going through some shit, but it did kind of make her annoying. I don't know, she was just annoying at some parts. Like she's just when your whole personality is revolving around a dude and everybody is warning you about said dude, like girl, please. Please unwind yourself from this shitty dude. But yeah, so I didn't care for that very much, and then by the ending I was just like, you have been fighting this whole time to get away from this and now you're willingly gonna go into it. So I don't know, I thought the ending was dumb. I thought this girl was just kind of dumb, and I didn't care for that. So I gave it 2.75. So yeah, not ideal, but that's that. So after that, I listened to the audiobook of The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And like this one went the other way, where I kind of wasn't so into it in the beginning because I was like, oh yeah, blood, violence, all that kind of stuff, because it's a vampire world, right? And our girl got snatched up and got adopted by a vampire king, basically. And so now she's in this vampire world trying to like basically survive amongst vampires, but she really likes killing vampires. It's a whole thing because she's a weak piece of prey because she's a human, and so she really relishes in destroying vampires. And so it becomes this whole thing, but then obviously she's in a tournament with the vampires where basically you gotta kill a bunch of vampires. Everybody's trying to kill everybody and doing all these trials and doing all this stuff, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but basically she ends up having a romance with her partner in these trials, and it ends up being their romance, but then at the end so much stuff happened. I was like, oh my god. So anyways, now I'm hooked and I understand why people like this series, and so I gave it 4 stars, and I will be continuing that series. So Serpent and the Wings of Night was worth it. This romantasy I was into, and I'm glad for it. So anyways, there's that. And then after that, I finished reading The 31st Trick or Treater, which this was a like Advent book where you're supposed to read like 1 chapter a day for like the whole month of October. And let me tell you, I don't think I'll be doing that again because it was so painful to only read 1 chapter when you just want to know what's happening at the end. But also this ending was bullshit. So basically our book started with kids on Halloween. 30 kids get snatched up all at once on Halloween. So, immediately I'm like, oh, this has to be some supernatural shit. So, and then, it kind of switches around like, oh, the son is like upset because he feels like he let his sister down. The dad's still trying to find her. The mom is like basically grieving her, thinks she's dead. Everybody's like, he's still looking for the kids, but he thinks it's somebody in the neighborhood. He's looking around. He's breaking into people's houses and doing all this stuff. So basically, they're trying to find out what happened to these kids. And then by the end of it, you know what happened, but it also just ended so abruptly that I was just like, what the hell? So anyways, like, I liked it until the end, and then I was like, what the fuck is this? So I gave it 3.5. It would have been a little higher, but the ending was just too abrupt. So anyways, that was that. And then after that, I went through all of the Scared Sexy little short stories, basically, that Amazon put out for Halloween, and I started with Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. I gave that 3.5. That one's a vampire one where the vampire slayer like gets amnesia and forgets who the hell he is, and then it turns this whole thing. It was kind of funny. So yeah, I gave that one 3.5. Can't say too much because it's less than 100 pages. These are all under 100 pages. So I read that one. And then I read the other ones, and Fallen, I think, was the worst one. I gave that 2.75 because that one was really just pure smut. That one was pure smut. Okay, I'm not gonna go into too much because they're not that long. So then, Spicy Little Curses, I gave that one 3 stars. That one's set in New Orleans and it's more like occulty, like in that kind of vibe. So I kind of like the vibe of that one. Then after that, we had Space Vampire. I gave that one 3 as well. And that one's like the aliens did like experiments and basically made a vampire, but then humans get treated like pets. It was weird. So anyways, they're trying to escape from like a alien spaceship thing. And yeah, but obviously, I mean, all of these have a little bit of smut. Just that's the point. So that one, Vampire 2. Beautiful Nightmare. I liked this one probably the most. I gave it 4 stars. This one was with a sleep paralysis demon, except she's not good at being a sleep paralysis demon. And so, yeah, I thought that one was cute. And then after that, it was My Boyfriends Are All Monsters, and I gave it 3 stars. But it's basically just an orgy with monsters. So yeah, that one was a lot. That one was a lot. I gave it 3 stars. But so that's how those went. But the last one that I read was for October was Kill Creatures. And this one, I don't know, I kind of felt like this one was kind of predictable too. And so this one did not get like the highest rating ever, I think. Yeah, I gave it 3.5. Kind of surprised I didn't give it a little bit lower because this one was kind of, I don't know, a little bit predictable in a way, but also, I don't know. So this one, our main character is going to, it starts with her going to a memorial for her friends that are all missing. And so the whole town is there, and then one girl comes back. Except they're supposed to be dead because she supposedly killed them. And so from there, you're just like, well, what the hell happened? What the hell happened? And some of it, parts of it, I feel like were like kind of obvious. Like you can tell from some of the language she's using, and the way she's kind of talking about it that it's not quite how she's spelling it out to be, right? And that's kind of sus. So yeah, basically this was a very quick read, but like you find out what happened. Yeah, you find out what happened by the end. She stops like basically lying to you, the reader, about what the hell's going on. Even like she's lying to herself, which means she's lying to you, and then you have to find out by the end what happened. So yeah, I gave it a 3.5. And so those were all the books that I actually finished in October, because I also DNF'd 3 of them, but we're not gonna talk about that here. So anyways, that was that. There you have it. I'll catch y'all next time.